What's going on, everyone? Jimmy Like Halo back again, and today we're talking about Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, which is also known as Luigi's Mansion 2 in Europe when it originally came out, but for some reason was called different names in different places, and they finally changed it to just be 2 everywhere, but it's kind of weird since it was called this. I don't know. You think they would have just called it Luigi's Mansion 2 Dark Moon? Kind of like, Metroid Prime 2 Echoes? That makes sense. It's like a little subtitle and combine them. But whatever, this literally doesn't matter at all. It's just a title of a game. It's just weird. Anyways, this is a game that originally came on 3DS, obviously, as you can see, and was recently re released on the Switch. And it's just called Luigi Mansion 2 HD, but they did do a little bit more with the textures. Actually, you can notice on the cover, Luigi's overalls here don't have like as good of a texture. Whereas actually on this cover they do, and that's how it actually looks in the game. Like this one's more basic looking, and this one's more textured. That's legitimately the difference in game, which I'll show you. But yeah, as you can see, the cover, his hands aren't on the 3DS part, which I always thought was just a funny little thing. Whereas now it's like on a door. But yeah, that's just the covers. This is also Nintendo Select's re-release because I played it before they re-released it, but I didn't own it, so then I bought it later when it was on sale. But then I got it again as a gift, so here we are. It actually came out just about a month ago because it was June 26th, and it's gonna be July 26th when I upload this video. So I was always on the impression that this game came out in 2014, but I always mix up dates. It says right here 2013, so I guess it was 2013. So 11 years later, not 10, they re-released it on the Switch. I always like this game, unlike most people. Well, I don't know about that. I think most people like the game and think it's good. They just don't think it's as good as the other ones, which is fair. That's how I feel. Like it's a good game. It's just not as good as 1 or 3. Um, but it's nice to have like a separate whole stick on the Switch to get that better controls, bigger screen, whatnot. Um, but yeah, just nice to have a release. It's not like the only thing I don't agree with is this being $60 because even though they did do more than just make it HD, um, to go up $20, especially considering this re-release was $20 less. It was $20 instead of $40, and then now this one's $60 a few years later. It's like, what are we really getting out of that? Like, you get a little bit more. Like, if it was $40, sure, that's fine. That was the original price of the game. But to be $60, that's only like, that's $20 more than Metroid Prime Remastered, which did way more. And the reason that was priced at $40 is not because um, Nintendo totally would have done it 60, but they wanted to make it $40 because it's a Metroid game and they wanted to sell better and get more sales from it. Since that series doesn't do as well as Mario series like Luigi's Mansion, where they know they can get away with selling it for a higher price because more people are going to buy it, as opposed to Metroid, which will sell less. The unfortunate truth, that's just how it is. Um, Whatever. Anyway, getting off topic. This is what the little cartridge looks like for the 3DS. Which ones are more vertical and smaller, and less wide? That's what that looks like there. It's more just like the cover. This one was just kind of some random art they did for the game. But now to show you the actual games on each platform. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention there's a little polter pup behind the cartridge, which I thought was cool. Just like the Thousand Year Door had a little picture hidden behind the cartridge. Nice little detail. Doesn't matter at all. Just something I thought I'd let you know. Also, another thing I want to mention, I really miss themes on the 3DS, man. Like, same thing goes with the PS4 to PS5. Like, what happened to themes? They're so cool. They're not that hard to add. They, like this Pokemon one that I have, it looks really cool. It came with a purchase of Pokemon Gold on the eShop. And it has its own little music and little like menu noises. It's just really cool little nice thing. And another thing I really miss about the 3DS with all this character and stuff is when you scroll over a little icon like Luigi's Mansion, it plays like a little music bite. And then some games would have like a 3D thing like zooming around, like Mario Kart 7, for example. And you could like shake it and move around. This one's just more of an image. But it's just a cool little nice thing that I just kind of miss, like most, or just modern game consoles. But however, Microsoft with the Xbox now is kind of like adding more dynamic themes too, and they're not quite to the level of like this or the PS4 versions, but still cool nonetheless. Um, anyway, actual game now. So you can already immediately tell the title screen is different. Not that that really makes much of a difference. This little menu looks the same. The music is the same on both of them as well. Just well, obviously it's the same. I don't know why anyone would be surprised by this, but these are both my completed files. It also shows the playtime, and this file was the second time I played the game. I might have done some more stuff in it and tried to. I think I was gonna originally try to 100% this file, but then I was like, I didn't really feel like it for whatever reason. And then when I was playing the game again, I'm just playing it to replay it. But immediately, as soon as you get back into this menu area, you can tell. Well, obviously, this is a 240p 3DS screen. Also, let me see if I can turn the brightness up. There we go. So, as you can see, it's more pixelated and whatnot. But also, just in terms of texture quality, as you can see on EGAD's hair strand is just sticking straight up. Whereas here on the Switch, it's like actually textured and swooped. And it does have like some moving mechanics. I think you can see if I do this. Yeah, it actually does move, whereas this one doesn't. Oh, it actually does. Never mind. But like I said, more textures. Um, but yeah, basically how this game works, instead of being one mansion, like in Luigi's Mansion 1, there's multiple, as you can see. So when you start the game, you are starting in Gloomy Manor, and these look exactly the same, so I'm basically showing them at the same time. But it's a level selection, it's not like open-ended like the first and third game. So in each level, there's a boo you can hunt down for a secret, and then you can also get a higher score. As you can see, this is the gold and that's the silver. Depending how much money you get, how much damage you take, how fast you beat the level. So it's a fun little high score system. I actually don't mind it at all. I would prefer, even with, I think it's because there's multiple mansions that it's level based, because it's easier to like pace it. If it was just one mansion, it would definitely be more like it's kind of like this is what Luigi's Mansion 3 did, right? Where it's just a hotel and every floor is like a different theme instead of being separate mansions like this game. So it's like a combination of the first and second one, and executes it very well. But either way, I still think the level system is good. There's still fun levels, the game's still fun. It is kind of annoying when it pulls you out when you could keep going, but there are times where it's like, okay, it makes sense to pull out here. So if it was redesigned, that's the only thing I would really change, would be a little more like open-ended, less linear, because you can do it like back to back. But yeah, let me just show you how the game looks in comparison from the original 3DS version and the new Switch re-release. So almost immediately you can tell the texture difference on stuff in here and how the game looks. Also, another thing I like to mention is the 3DS is an uncapped version of the game, so it can go over 30 FPS, whereas the new version is locked to 30 frames, so you can't go over that. However, it looks more stable this way, and it's overall better experience. And in docked mode, it's 1080p 30, and then in handheld, it's 720p at a locked. It's not dynamic or anything. But as you can see, these games, they are fundamentally the same game. It's just this is a much better, like, cleaned up looking version of the game. Not that the 3DS version looks bad at all, though. It's actually aged very well. One of the better looking 3DS games as well. Like, it still holds up even now after playing this version. It's just, this version actually, you'll notice, this is, like, this version is what you think this version originally looked like. That's how you remember it. But yeah, it looks really good re-release. I just wish it was $40, not 60. Other than that, games are basically the same, but as you can see, since the 3DS was dual screen, they had all the map stuff on the bottom, which was nice. But it's fine because since the Switch has a bigger screen anyway, this is just in the corner with your health and stuff, and then your money pops up when you get it. But obviously, there's no 3D effect. That does not show up. That looks really weird on camera. Not that you would really use it anyway. I never really used 3D. It was a cool little nifty thing in some games. But yeah, so another thing is, on the 3DS, since it didn't have that other stick, you would just look up and down with X and that, and then you would there's the flashlight mechanic in this game, and then blow out of the vacuum was L, and then suck was R. Same thing on here. And then you have the UV light as well as another thing they add in this game, which is really cool. But yeah, that's about all I have to say. Really good game. Good re-release. If you have never played the game, definitely a good way to play the game. Highly recommend it, especially if you like the other games. This game is still very much good and worth playing. And even if you have played it before, maybe it's worth getting again. Maybe if it's eventually a little bit cheaper. But yeah, overall, really like this game. Definitely recommend it. One of the better Mario games in the franchise. Even though it's not the best Luigi's Mansion game, it's still a good game. So yeah, that's all about it I have to say for this video. Thanks for watching another one, and I'll see you in the next one.